Okay, so just this is sort of a comedy break, but something to be thinking about. When our two boys were here on Earth, I found that I was trying to think about 1,000 things, to include supplements, the best doctor, what do you do with steroids? They were very early trials. There was a lot of pushback against even the thought of steroids. I kept saying to myself, how hard can it be? What do I have to remember? How much do I have to stress times two? And it got to be complicated. So we, in my family, long ago, so I thought I'd start off with the story of Grandpa Woody. Now you may think, what did Grandpa Woody have to do with Duchenne? But I'll tell you, so when I was growing up, we used to spend some time in Michigan. We had a small cabin there that overlooked a lake, and it was some of our really best days, I think, when I was growing up. So we did have a Grandpa Woody, Grandpa Woody belonged to another family called the Jennies, who are really close and best friends. And Grandpa Woody always had his zipper down. So as we got to know Grandpa Woody, right, and it got to be with the kids that if something was wrong or you looked weird, or you had spinach in your teeth or your zipper was down, we'd all say Grandpa Woody. So Grandpa Woody kind of continued through my family to whenever something was odd about you or didn't really fit, we'd just say Grandpa Woody. And it was just easy for us to then kind of look and see what was wrong and fix it. So I had 3 brothers, and we were Grandpa Woodying quite a bit, as you might imagine. And then we'd say fake out Grandpa Woody. But so when I thought about Duchenne, one of my little boys, Patrick, used to study with his tongue out. And we used to make fun of Patrick. Well, we made fun of each other. So we made fun of Patrick a lot because his speech was impaired. He would say, I'm Patrick Furlong. And so he couldn't say truck. He would use an F in front of that. So you can imagine how many trucks we had Patrick talk about. Patrick, look, what is that, right? So in line with the Grandpa Woody, he had his tongue out. And if you were in the last session, the tongue is a muscle, and it tends to grow and can really cause a problem with the mouth, the dentition, swallowing, talking, and certainly aesthetics. So we really have to think about keeping the tongue in the mouth, and we had to remind Patrick. So we used Grandpa Woody because he would kind of look down and then he would remember that we were talking about his mouth. So this is a little guy who studies with his tongue out. So this is where you want to really control that, Grandpa Woody. Or some people click and make little signs because it's really uncomfortable to be saying to your son, keep your tongue in your mouth, keep your tongue in your mouth. It's much more fun to have a Grandpa Woody approach to things. Shoulders. When you're sitting down, I think we all like to slouch down on the couch and then we all kind of sit like this. In Duchenne, how your position is really important. So it won't help if you stretch all day if all of a sudden you're sitting like this, right? Because you're promoting some change in the spine. So I think just to be thinking about this Grandpa Woody, sit up straight, right? Keep those shoulders level. So I'm reminded of the song Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes from early days and little kids singing it to the point where, as a parent, it was annoying, so you had to tell them to stop. So when I think about Grandpa Woody, I think about head, shoulders, knees, and toes. I think about knees. A lot of these little guys like to sit like this because it's comfortable, but this really promotes tightness in the IT bands. So this is not a good position. It also presents with those feet that start to roll upward. So Grandpa Woody, sit straight, get your knees on the floor. So I think you should have in your family just some of these little reminders to just kind of keep thinking about, and if you make it a joke, it makes it a little more simple. So shoes and toes. I don't know of a kid that doesn't like to go barefoot. We all did it. We all want to do it. But sometimes when they're sitting and their little feet dangle down, again, you're promoting tightness in the Achilles tendon, and you're promoting contracture development. So keep your shoes on. Let them buy one of those, I don't know, extraordinarily expensive Nike things. Let them pick out their shoes. Keep those shoes on their feet so that those contractures don't develop. Keep those shoes flat on the floor to also promote stretch, because it doesn't help if you're going to stretch twice a day and you're going to do it exactly right and then they sit with their feet dangling. So just things to remember: head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And if you need a Grandpa Woody, he's a good one.